It began on a night when the stars wept tears of silver, and the ancient trees whispered secrets of a forgotten prophecy. In the heart of the twilight forest, Aurora, a young woman with eyes like storm-tossed seas and hair the color of midnight, stood at the edge of a realm both wondrous and terrible. She could feel destiny tugging at her soul. An ember of purpose ignited long ago. Aurora had grown up on the outskirts of Eldoria, a land where magic and myth intertwined like the roots of the towering oaks. Orphaned as a child and raised by a kindly herbalist in a small village, she had always sensed that she was meant for something far greater than the quiet life among flowered fields and humble cottages. Whispers in the wind and recurring dreams of a blazing phoenix had haunted her sleep, hinting at a lineage steeped in power and ancient secrets. One fateful evening, as dusk draped the village in hues of violet and gold, a mysterious visitor arrived, a wizened seer cloaked in layers of faded starlight. "The time has come," the seer intoned, his voice brittle yet resonant, "for the legacy of your blood to be reclaimed." He pressed into Aurora's hands a small, intricately carved amulet that shimmered with an inner light. "This Ember of Midnight will guide you. Trust it, and you will uncover truths long lost." The amulet pulsed softly against her skin, as if alive with a heartbeat of its own. And in that moment, Aurora knew her life was about to change. With a quiet determination burning in her chest, she bid farewell to her beloved village and stepped into the unknown. The path was treacherous. Dense forests with twisted undergrowth and mist-shrouded moors tested her resolve at every turn. Every so often, the amulet's glow would intensify, guiding her toward ancient ruins and hidden glens where she discovered fragments of forgotten lore. She met travelers along the way, a somber knight exiled from his order, a nimble thief with secrets in her eyes, and even a gentle giant whose booming laughter belied a tender heart. Each one shared with her pieces of the old world, tales of lost magic, and warnings of a rising darkness that sought to reclaim Eldoria for itself. In the ruins of an abandoned citadel, beneath a canopy of ivy and crumbling stone, Aurora uncovered a tapestry that told the story of her ancestors. The fabric depicted mighty warriors and sorceresses, guardians of a realm where light battled shadow. It spoke of a celestial phoenix, reborn from its ashes, whose radiant fire would banish the encroaching gloom. As Aurora traced her fingers over the embroidered lines, she felt an inexplicable kinship with the heroes of old, a promise that she too carried within her the spark of that ancient flame. Yet, with every revelation came mounting peril. Night after night, shadowy figures lurked just beyond the flickering light of her campfire. In whispered voices on the wind, she heard threats, cryptic warnings of a nemesis, known only as the Umbral Warden, a being of pure darkness whose sole purpose was to snuff out the legacy of light. The Warden's presence was everywhere, in the rustle of dead leaves, in the murmur of distant streams, and in the echo of her own racing heart. One storm-lashed evening, as rain battered her cloak and thunder shook the skies, Aurora found herself at the entrance of a cavern hidden beneath a rocky outcrop. The amulet's glow led her inside. The cavern walls pulsed with a faint, otherworldly light that revealed ancient carvings and murals depicting a battle between radiant phoenixes and sinister, cloaked figures. Deep within the cavern, in a chamber lined with crystalline formations, she discovered an altar upon which rested a weathered tome. The pages spoke of a ritual, one that could awaken the full power of the Ember of Midnight and turn the tide against the encroaching darkness. But the ritual came at a cost. The text warned that the seeker must confront their innermost fears, the darkest parts of their soul, before true power could be unleashed. With trembling hands, Aurora opened the tome. The words glowed, swirling into visions of her past, the sorrow of losing her family, the loneliness of a life spent in quiet obscurity, and the burning longing for acceptance and purpose. In that cavern, with rain pelting the entrance and her own doubts echoing like ghosts, she realized that the greatest battle was not against an external foe, but against the darkness that dwelled within her own heart. For hours, she meditated, allowing the memories and pain to surface, accepting them as part of her journey. Slowly, the amulet's light swelled into a brilliant blaze that filled the chamber. The murals seemed to come alive, their phoenixes soaring high, their radiant wings banishing the shadows. In that moment, Aurora felt a transformation, a merging of her fears with newfound resolve. The power of her ancestry flowed through her, fierce and liberating. Under a sky bruised with twilight, she encountered the Umbral Warden, a figure shrouded in darkness, eyes like pits of endless night. The air crackled with tension as they faced one another. The Warden's voice was a cold whisper. "You dare challenge the fate written in shadows?" Aurora's reply was steady, imbued with the newfound fire of her legacy. "I challenge the darkness with the light of my ancestors," she declared. Their battle was fierce yet graceful, a dance of light against shadow. Bolts of ethereal energy clashed with tendrils of darkness, illuminating the ruins in a spectral glow. Every swing of her blade and every incantation she uttered was a testament to the strength of hope, of resilience, born from sorrow and tempered in the fires of loss. As the struggle reached its climax, the Warden's form began to waver. With one final defiant cry, Aurora channeled the full power of the Ember of Midnight. A surge of brilliant light burst forth, engulfing the darkness. In that blinding flash, the Warden's shadow dissolved, leaving behind only a whisper, a promise of return, perhaps, but no longer a threat to her people. Breathless, Aurora stood amidst the ruins as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon. The battle had been won, but she knew her journey was far from over. The legacy of her ancestors was now her own, a burden and a blessing that would guide her in the days to come. With a heart both heavy and hopeful, she vowed to rebuild Eldoria, to nurture the light within every soul and guard it against the creeping darkness. In the quiet aftermath of the night's trials, as birds began their morning songs and the ruins bathed in gentle radiance, Aurora's thoughts turned to the future. A future where every life was touched by the ember of hope, where the legacy of the past blossomed into a new dawn. And deep within her, the memory of that stormy night and the silent promise of the ancient prophecy would forever burn bright.